rather snappy, won't you? I have some very heavy thinking to do before 10 o'clock.
We'll switch it over on not wait for it to do automatic, but good morning, everybody.
Yeah, good morning. Welcome to Get It Right, Texoma. I'm Trey Soralla.
Yeah, and if I can get this coast over there, and I'm Terry McAdams.
Did you forget who you are?
I know.
He needs to wear his little name tag.
That's it. I forgot. Yeah, well, it's right here. So anyway, I'm Terry McAdams, and even though he's not with us, we got Mike Hendren. He's sit right next, in where I'm at. And,
but he's always right here watching
there.
over us.
Yeah, he's with us, and he always will be. And this is normally every Friday morning
We're live streaming.
Except
this morning we are, well, you won't know any difference.
Right.
Because you're still going to get it at the same time. It's going to drop at 7:30 on Friday morning through the magic of Terry's, magic fingers there.
Yes.
But we are recording this on Wednesday.
That's what she said.
Yeah.
Oh, but
Wait
anyway,
a minute. Wow. Wow, Terry. Whoa, I don't know if I can do this here. No, but we are recording on Wednesday, so if there's anything that we talk about or something big's happened and we don't talk about it.
We won't be live like normally.
Yeah,
so we're recording this on Wednesday, so we've got we may be a little behind on there, but we'll talk a little bit more here shortly.
That's right, but we do talk about what's going on in Wichita Falls, Texoma, the state, internationally, intergalactically. We're here to inform and entertain you.
That's right, and we're not trying to be perfect or polished or whatever. We're just here to have some fun and make and be real a little bit, and maybe throw an opinion or two out, have some fun, and then maybe we'll throw out a little thought-provoking topic, here and there. So hopefully you can do it. But anyway, Get It Right Texoma is brought to you by Mac Tech Solutions, 4020 Ray Road, right here in Finishing Touch Plaza. And we're here for anything Apple or your local source for Apple stuff. And we can fix your stuff as well.
Now, you can fix any Apple stuff.
That's right.
You don't sell the phones.
The phone and the goggles, I guess, the Vision Pro.
Surely that's not ubiquitous. I mean, those are pretty expensive, aren't they?
Well, yeah, $3,500.
I mean, so there's people that have them.
Yes,
but it's not every Tom, Dick, and Harry who's got one.
Correct. And maybe when they have, because you can only buy them at the Apple Store, but at some point, if that's the next thing, hopefully we'll be able to do it. But in any case, we can hook you up, and then we have
Eddie Hills Fun Cycles, 401 North Scott, downtown Wichita Falls since 1966. You can catch us at eddyhillsfuncycles.com. All things power sports. And be sure to check out our website regularly if you're looking for something, because our inventory does change. We get new things in, especially our used inventory. I mean, it rolls pretty good.
I never even thought about you had
absolutely. It's all on our website. We try to put really good pictures on there. Okay. So check us out.
Yeah, and as a reminder, we go live normally 7:30, but we even though we won't be live this time, it'll still premiere. We're at 7:30 right now. If you catch us right now while you're listening to us, but that's on every Friday. It'll be on Facebook and YouTube. And, of course, you
don't jump in on the comments today.
Not for live, anyway. But still comment and let us know what you think about the show and everything. And
but you're not going to monitor it.
No,
if somebody types in a comment and say, hey, you guys suck,
I won't see.
You won't know it.
Until I can, but I can respond later. But just comment whenever it is. That'll be the best policy there.
There you go.
But anyway, so we've got not that guy. But,
no. Today we've got some. As always, we have a great guest, and today we have Wichita County Judge Jim Johnson.
Right.
Which you got to be careful, because there's two Jim Johnsons that are elected officials in Wichita Falls.
Well, and it's not the most. I mean, it kind of Johnson's a common name, and so is Jim. So Jim Johnson is.
So there's a Jim Johnson who's on the school board of the Wichita Falls ISD school board, and then you have a Jim Johnson who is the county judge. He lives in Wichita Falls, but he's a county judge for Wichita County. Ironically, they were on this ballot at the same time on top of that.
Oh, wow.
They were elected at the same time.
How's he running for two things, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So anyway, stick around, and let's get to it. This is Get It Right Texoma, and we've already talked about that. So what are we going to jump into right here?
Local restaurant. We always do our local restaurant focus. This is something that we do that we're trying to do is help promote local restaurants.
There it is.
And we don't get any money. We don't ask them for anything. We don't want anything from them. Nope. It's a nice way to promote local restaurants. Yep. And this focus this week is on
Parkway Grill.
Really one of the staples in Wichita Falls.
That's it, yeah.
Parkway Grill has been around a long time.
Yep.
In the same location right out there on Southwest Parkway. They do a phenomenal job with food, beverages, and all that sort of thing. And then they also have the North Side Grill, which at one time they called it Parkway Grill 2, I think.
Or North or whatever.
Something. And then I think they just changed the name. It's the same thing, same company, same people, same recipes, great food, great service, and all that. It's just I think they did it to stop confusion.
Yeah.
Because people would say, meet at Parkway Grill. Which one?
Yeah, really. Yeah.
So the other one is over by Walmart by the base.
Right on the freeway. I mean, you see it's on the exit road, right? It's right on the frontage. My wife grew up in California. Apparently, they didn't use that term.
Frontage road?
Yeah, they said. Well, she's always like, I don't see frontage anywhere.
Oh, looking for frontage road. Yeah,
frontage road. Yeah. So it's like, man, that's a common name of a street. But anyway,
it's like when you're driving through Germany and you're trying to keep. Aschfart, you're trying to figure out where the street Aschfart is. Well, it means exit because there's signs for Aschfart. Yeah, it's like, dang, that's a big town. I mean, we've passed out 12 of them.
There you go. All right.
No, Parkway Grill to me the epitome of what they have when they have. I don't know that anybody has better is a mozzarella cheese sticks.
Okay.
Oh my goodness.
Well,
if you like mozzarella cheese sticks, you gotta have.
I
Parkway
think they have the best onion rings.
Oh, their onion rings are awesome.
I think they have the best onion rings. But the other thing is they did away with it on the menu, and I hope they still do this because I haven't been there in a little while. But they have I really, really love their cheeseburger salad, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
it's basically a cheeseburger without the bun.
Right.
In lettuce.
Right. Well, yeah, I mean, it's a big old bowl.
Oh, yeah.
And they got croutons, and I mean, it is. And the meat, oh my gosh, their patties are so good.
Yeah, their burgers are great.
And
so if you get any kind of burger, it's great. We got pop-ups over there.
But I think we're good.
Okay. So if you get any kind of burger, but anything you get, Parkway Grill, go check them out.
Yep.
And they're open pretty normal times. You've got them pulled up there.
Yeah. So they have, let's see, about maybe,
they're closed now. Oh, you can't go right now?
There you go. There.
So they're open 7 days a week. Yep. Looks like 11 to 10.
Yep.
So
and then weekends they're open till 11 on Friday and Saturday. So
right.
Yeah, they're open every day. And I mean, they got tons of TVs. If you've never been there, if you're new to town or whatever, they've got a soccer game and a baseball game.
Oh yeah,
a hockey game.
It's kind of a combination of a bar, a really good restaurant, and like a sports restaurant, sports bar thing. It's really cool. Anyhow, go check them out. Parkway Grill and Northside Grill here in Wichita Falls.
Just Google them and it's there. But oh my gosh, look at that right there. What is that? Oh, that's something.
I don't know. It looks good.
Pizza burger.
Wow.
Okay. Well, there you go. So go check out the pizza burger.
There you go.
So
Parkway Grill.
All right. So we'll go back to the wide view there. So next up on the agenda here is we've got a little bit of news. We're going to talk a little bit about things like reports say that Delta Airlines will be using AI. Now, does that project or protect?
Project.
Okay. What do they mean? What do you mean by project in this?
Reports are saying that Delta Airlines will start using AI to determine how much you are willing to pay for a ticket.
Okay. Well, I've heard this. Okay. Well, wait a minute. They've all reports are people who study this kind of thing have said that this has been going on anyway. It's not. They're using it now with AI. Is going to be a lot smarter about how they do it.
That's what I'm getting at.
Because basically the criticism is that you could go to a website. And you've been there back and forth to an airline's website, and they remember you, and so
right.
they kind of know what you'll pay in a way.
Yeah.
And then if you were to go to a private window and shop that way, you'd get a different price. It'd be lower. And so they're now going to deploy AI to even make that a little more real time or more accurate or something.
Well,
so that's interesting.
Part of this is, and this is the same thing I've been saying for years, and I think this is part of it. All you people out there who break your neck to save 37 cents to get a free point here or a free sub sandwich on your 12th sub and all that, you're selling your data. That's what you're doing, and which is fine. If you want to sell your data, you can sell your data. That's cool. But what all of that data you're being sold that you're selling to these people, or you're giving this data, your shopping habits, your buying habits, these people are reselling it to people like Delta Airlines, and they'll determine, are you going to pay full price? Are you going to get a discounted ticket or whatever?
Yeah.
And it could actually end up costing you money. So that 12.5 cents you saved on your coffee may end up costing you $100 on a flight line.
Well, it might, but also realize there's things that you can't do anything about. That you're building a profile when you go online, and it's very difficult to go unscathed. But
now, if you use a VPN, though, you're not as much, right?
Well,
they can't track it as well. Am I
not
correct
as
about
well.
that? You're the
true.
expert there.
No, there's something about that if you use a VPN, but they can still. But when you sign in and use your username and password, they know who you are.
No, I get that. But what I'm saying is, but if you use a VPN, but Delta Airlines not going to necessarily know that you went to this website or this website if you go through a VPN, right?
Well, they should. Well, it depends. There's still some cross tracking. What you're talking about is that it's better, but it's by no means an absolute, because you still have to give
I
up
still think
personal
that this is all these people everybody who's been hell-bent on saving a few cents on this and a few cents on that, which is fine. If you want to do that, go right ahead. I personally would rather just pay cash, pay whatever the price is, and move on and not have to go through. It's the same old thing as having to give your goddamn phone number at Radio Shack to buy batteries back in the day. Remember that?
Yeah.
That Radio Shack was the original people that did that, and they almost would almost not sell you something unless you gave them your phone number.
Okay, that must have been. Is that after they got their computers? Because for many years they didn't have computers.
This was the old days of Radio Shack. I think they had card files.
Yeah, they just put okay.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I never paid that much attention, but yeah, they had the battery club and all that
Oh
stuff.
my goodness. Anyhow.
Yeah. So yeah, it's but whatever it is or whatever works best for you, just be aware. Basically,
just be aware that you're giving up your information,
Yeah.
and somebody out there, you are going to be an easier target to be advertised to very specifically.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah.
And some people don't care, and that's fine. If it's up to you, I don't care what you do with your money.
That's your money, right?
That's right.
So next up on the agenda there, what the Community Healthcare Center's Board of Directors has been announced.
No, they've announced that Mike Dodson will be the new chief executive officer starting August 1st.
Oh.
So this is the Wichita.
I see. I read that wrong. Sorry.
Yeah, this is the Wichita Falls Community Healthcare Center, which is a very important part of our community, especially for low-income people and people that need some good, solid health care here. And they've been looking for a CEO, and Mike Dodson is now the CEO. He has a master's in business administration from Rice University, so he's obviously a smart guy, and a Bachelor of Science in Accounting from University of New Orleans, which I don't know much about that one, but Rice is pretty big.
Yeah.
He has more than 20 years executive leadership experience within the healthcare system. So
he knows a little bit about the ins and outs.
Exactly. So congratulations to Mike, and welcome to Wichita Falls.
All right. What you got? This one. You'll take that one.
There's another one I threw in here as I was driving by here, because we're at the MacTech Solution Studios, 4020 Railroad.
That's it.
Yep. So a little shameless plug there.
Yeah, that's way 3B. No.
And when I come this way, I drive by the way I drove today, because I drove down Kemp Street. I drove by Hooters.
Former.
It's still, but that's the problem. I don't understand. And you had Hooters is still there with their sign up.
Yep.
And then what was the Mexican food? El Phoenix Restaurant kept their sign up for a long time. I don't understand. When Circuit City went out of business and that sign stayed up there, Circuit City went out of business. Right. There was not a Circuit City. There was nobody to take the sign down.
Partly may be why the fact that it didn't get taken down.
I understand that part. Hooters is still in business.
Right.
So is El Phoenix.
Right.
Why would you not want to spend $1,000, $500 to go get a sign removed? Because basically what you're saying is, people can say, "Oh, it's still advertising." No, it's not. It's showing you're a failure.
Right. Yeah. As
far as I'm concerned,
it's opening. I hate to use the word wound, but it's certainly reminding people. Oh yeah, they're no longer open.
Yeah, well, and they failed here.
Right.
They failed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
that's a good thought.
and so do you think anybody's going to be driving down Caulfield Road in Wichita Falls and see that sign and go, "Man, I'm going to drive to Dallas and go to Hooters"? No, they're going to go, "What a bunch of losers! They couldn't make it here."
There might be one or two, but anyway. So here's the thing too. Just something that you may or may not have known. When you sign a lease, in some cases, if you close your business or move, they require you to take down the sign. It's in the lease agreement.
Right.
Otherwise, they can charge you back for doing that. So,
right.
But just be aware of that. But these standalone companies, I don't know who owns the building. And oftentimes they own the building. Those larger companies own the building as well.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying, I would think if I had a business that failed,
Yeah. Oh,
a location that failed,
yeah,
I would want to get my sign off that location.
Right.
I would not want it to be a reminder that we couldn't make it there.
Yeah. No, I got you.
So, by the way, the next story is the U.S. and the EU agreed to a trade framework setting a 15% tariff across the board on most goods.
Right.
That's a huge thing, and it goes on to say that the EU has also agreed to invest $600 billion in energy, and $750 billion in energy and $600 billion more in American goods.
Okay. Well,
so
cool.
This was a huge win. Now, unfortunately, some of the EU, so the EU is I think it's 27 member country, and they do almost like collective bargaining, the way they do things. But then you obviously have like Germany, France, all these people that are in the EU. They also have their own governments and things like that. And I think there's one of the German chancellor, somebody has come out and he said that he thinks it's going to be hard for them to honor that agreement. Well, that's bull, because the fact is you made the agreement.
Well, you're in the EU, and you've allowed the EU as an organization to
if
negotiate on
you
your
don't
part,
if you don't want to be part of that, that's the reason England got out.
Right.
Because they didn't want somebody from Brussels or wherever they were based to make the decisions for them. But look, you made a deal.
You made a commitment to the EU.
And if you don't want to commit to it, maybe we don't need to commit to covering your ass in NATO. Yeah. That's what I get back to. I'm so sick and tired of these countries who live under the umbrella of protection that America provides and then shit on us.
Right.
It bothers me. I mean, when I hear people talk about how great Sweden is and how great the Netherlands are, and they are. There's some really lovely countries. They have a lot of really good things. There's some really good things that they have for their social, they're in their society. They pay a lot of high taxes. But part of the reason they're able to do that is because they don't have to spend a lot of money on defense because they're part of NATO. That's it. And they understand that the United States, we're the umbrella. Back when we were on the radio, I did a whole, I don't know if you remember that thing I brought in. The United States spends, it's like 3 times more than any country in the world on defense. And we're kind of defending a lot of people in that who are our allies. So I go back to, it's like you're kind of living, your citizens are benefiting from the United States taxpayer spending so much on defense and you being an ally of ours.
Right. Yep.
So when you make a deal with us, don't go back on it. Don't renege on that deal. Because once again, maybe Russia wants to come and knock in or something, and maybe we're not going to be so quick to go out there and help you out. So I'm just saying it kind of goes back to when people start being critical, when other countries and people in other countries start being critical of our United States politics, it bothers the crap out of me simply because of I would like for you to say thank you and then shut the hell up, because you get to go to bed at night knowing that you're an ally of the United States of America and knowing that your country is way more protected than it was. Because the fact is, Sweden may be a lovely country, but if Russia wanted to come knocking or China wanted to come knocking and the United States wasn't involved, Sweden wouldn't last 37 seconds.
Yeah.
Bottom line.
Yeah.
So
I was just doing a quick Google, it's Google search, but see what the AI comes up with for, because you kind of have to throw this out in a different way, because it's not just about the spending of NATO. It's the fact that we are allocating resources to protect the entire country. So it's beyond.
It's not just NATO.
We pay. I think it said something about we pay like $500 million.
No, I'm not talking about NATO. I'm talking about the United States as a whole. But if you're an ally, you live under the umbrella of our of our protection, whether we have a base in your country or not. We're going to go if somebody attacks France, we're going to go help France.
Yeah, here's some quick Google AI points, and I'll bring that up actually on. I'm going to say outright that this is definitely going to be something we'd want to double check. But if I bring that up on the thing, which that's the wide view, I'll get the rest. Yeah, here we go.
Was that a fat joke? You have to have the wide view because I'm on it. Is that what you're saying?
Oh, you caught me. So anyway, here's what it says. Basically, that it says it's a complicated subject, but here's a more detailed breakdown. U.S. contribution, financial. U.S. spends roughly 2/3 of NATO's total defense budget. So I'm guessing they're adding all of that up, and we're 2/3, and we're not even. I think that's our land area, and the amount of covers is probably, well, I guess, how big is Europe over?
Oh, well, no. Europe, all of Europe and all of the NATO countries is much bigger than than America in land mass.
And you can look at it from people and from a land
Canada.
mass. Right.
Canada's part of NATO and they're massive.
Yeah, that's I didn't think about that. Yes. But U.S. provides significant military aid to NATO allies and maintains a strong military presence in Europe. The U.S. commitment to collective defense through Article 5 of the NATO Treaty provides strong security guarantees. So, intelligence. I mean, there's just a ton of things. I think we contribute way over what our percentage should be.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Well, but not just that. Once again, simply
everything.
because you're an ally of America, not thinking, because NATO has its own basically army. It has its own forces and stuff like that.
Right.
But simply because you're an ally of America, you fall under the protection of the American taxpayer.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that's taxpayer money.
Yep.
That's not Donald Trump's money. That's not Joe Biden's money. That's taxpayer money.
And I think it in the short term, or I guess it's been a long term, but I think we believe that's a value that shows how strong we are as a single country.
Sure.
And I think that's important that we do.
But every once in a while, say thank you. I mean, if somebody's paying your bills or somebody's protecting your hind end,
right,
smile and say thank you and move on.
Right.
Speaking of spending tax money, we know somebody who knows how to spend tax money
You're
wisely.
Yeah, and he's early, and that's great.
That's fine.
He can come on in.
Come on in.
Join in, and especially
we just
on
keep
this
rolling.
one. This topic. Good morning. So this topic, I think you could, even though you may, I don't know how much you participated or knew about this part, but the Sykes Center revamp or whatever on that. So
he's
week,
a county judge. He knows all.
Yeah, he knows it.
In Wichita County. He's got it.
So
County Judge Jim Johnson is here with us. We've already cleared up and clarified this morning which Jim Johnson was coming in.
Okay, good. Always a good thing to clarify.
You're both great guys.
Yeah.
but it was ironic. I mean, you had in the Wichita Falls, a city the size of Wichita Falls, you had two people with the same name that were on the ballot at the same time with two different elected positions.
Yeah, I've known Jim for a long time and was thankful that it was someone who had a good reputation and that shares your name on the ballot. You're always a little nervous about that.
You say that. I had a customer one time. I called a customer of mine that lived in Iowa Park, and we had two customers that had the same name, and I called the wrong one. And the guy that I called, he goes, "No, I don't have anything up there right now." And he goes, "Oh, you're looking out for that other guy. Yeah, he doesn't pay his bills. I get called all the time on him." No. So, and they live like 3 blocks away from each other in Iowa Park that had the same name. And you got to feel bad for a guy who pays his bills and all that, and you have somebody who's a credit bandit over here who's got the same name and lives in the same town as you do. Yeah. Oh my goodness!
Yeah. Thankfully, I didn't have to worry about that.
No, absolutely not.
No, I mean the county doesn't have any formal role in the what's going on at the Sykes Center Mall and discussions. That's all city and economic development stuff. But I mean, we care because the continued sad story of what has gone on over there over the last, well, I guess decade and a half, affects the tax rolls. It affects the just general perception of economic growth and vitality for the community. I'm excited about the fact that things appear to be in the works, which will mean that it'll be local people getting to make decisions about the future of this heart of the community that should be a jewel for us, should be something that we can be excited about and look forward to, but unfortunately just isn't going in that direction.
And was an anchor for so many years.
Yep.
I mean, you didn't grow up in Wichita Falls, but you did, and I did. And even you're younger than me, but the mall was still a viable thing when you were growing up.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Well, Wichita Falls, in Fort Worth, where I grew up, Ridgemar used to be a really nice place, but that's gone even since we've been here, that downhill.
Well, and I know y'all know this, and I know a lot of people do, but this isn't just a Wichita Falls thing.
Exactly.
With the mall that has been
the
going down, trending in that
malls
direction.
Yeah.
everywhere.
Right. Unless you live in a huge metropolitan area, heck, you won't see that kind of activity happening at them,
Right.
and only there because 2/3 of them have closed, and
Right.
so
Well,
all of it's
the
been
South
concentrated.
Lake style
Right.
of shopping centers are there,
Yeah.
but are
Well,
still
those are
good.
experiences.
Right.
Yeah, and what you do is you have people. If you have people who have shopping is still an experience for some people. It's not for me.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I'm a run to the dollar store and go in and get it and get exactly what I want and get the hell out of there. And if I can't get it at the dollar store, Lowe's or Home Depot or Tractor Supply, I probably don't need it type thing. That's how I am. But I know I'm not necessarily the norm. There's a lot of people that enjoy it, and it's still a social thing for a lot of people. It's just they want to go to a nice social place to do it. They don't want to go to a mall with a store missing here and a store missing there and this and that facility. So, yeah, I think it's exciting. The story we had was there's a few local, I guess maybe tenants of the mall that are small businesses that are trying to start a petition. But they're talking about a citywide vote. But I don't know that this would be a
No. If you read, and I was wondering about that, but if you read the was it a proclamation or whatever it is from the 4B board, there was a letter issued.
I think that it was a posting that they
Right,
had
a
to make.
posting. Okay, on that it says that if the citizens or the whatever that want to, if they want to, they need a petition, and it talks about it if they want it to go to a public vote. So I guess that's what they're taking advantage of, is they're working through that.
So there
process.
is a process.
Right,
Okay.
apparently so, and that was I guess I can pull it up, but that is that's what is the I guess it's the owner of I'm trying to remember Menagerie. It's a anyway. They've moved around. Remember when we go into they were over
The radio station, they were right across the street there. Yeah.
So anyway, she's trying to get that going. And I'm all good. I'm all for her to process, but I listened to her news story last night, and I'm not sure she's. I mean, if it says it right in the thing that we can do this, that's great. She's saying there's no. Oh, this is done in secret. It's like no, it's kind of meant seemed to be. It was in the works for a long time, but now it's being brought up,
And that has to drive you
process.
nuts when you hear people do this backroom deals and stuff. Let me tell you something.
It's-
As a former elected official, I'm actually an appointed official in Clay County right now, and as an elected official, none of us want to go to prison
No.
for doing backroom deals,
Well,
right?
and that's what I was going to say is between what the legislature's established in the law with the Open Meetings Act, and there's very little that can be done in backroom deals or in secret. Transparency is a key fundamental part of the process.
Exactly.
There will be posting and public notice. There will be requirements for how much time you give and who you notice and where that goes, as far as on the website for city economic development, in the newspaper. There are those things in place. Now, a lot of individual citizens may not know about them.
Yeah.
That's a challenge of how do you get that information out and how do you make sure that the people affected know. But no, in fact, there are a lot of times where those requirements and those posting notices, people talk about the inefficiency of government and how everything is done is slow. Well, a lot of that's by design.
Exactly. Yeah.
That notice that they posted for the economic development for the mall deal, I think is a 60-day notice,
Right.
which means 60 days.
And
of
it
extra
says
time
on
to write.
August 14th, I think it is, you can come talk about it.
Yeah.
Well, it's one of those deals
So.
that, and you hit on something that's right. Just because you didn't know about it doesn't mean that it hasn't been talked about in open. And that's part of it. Part of it is people don't pay attention, and then they see something all of a sudden. It's like, well, wait a minute, they've been talking about this for. Well, yeah, but it's been on every agenda, or it's been on whatever.
Well, and that's part of the reason for that is that if I'm a owner of a shop in the mall, well, obviously I have a huge stake in what's being talked about and what's going to happen. But I wouldn't know about that unless the notice requirements were there. And now I have my opportunity to go talk to the folks and state my case, hear from them on what the vision is, what the plans are. That communication is a necessary part.
And this is not to take away from the idea that it's a big deal to move a business, because that is.
Yeah.
Look at what even in Wichita Falls with the feed store, and I guess Are they out of business now anyway?
Who?
The one that remember the vote for the city that we were going to do the bond proposal.
Oh, Wichita Feed.
Right.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah,
They were kind of. I mean, well, actually, the lady that ran it had actually died too. But
right, but I mean, my point is that you, as much as we all feel for those people, because we're all small business owners and everything, at least the two of us, and we would hate for that, but to happen to us. But at the same time, you got to be aware that things happen, and things need to move forward. And this mall, I mean, it's on its last leg in a way, and it is not the trend. And everybody's, if they just get more tenants. Well, tell me how you do that.
Yeah.
They've obviously somebody's
they've been trying.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
it's not like
it's not like they've had people beating their door down. They're turning them away.
Now, how we got here, one might argue, that obviously COVID just put a nail in the coffin. I think for it all, but I just think it's people who don't. And again, I'm not trying to belittle anybody who's not a business owner, but until you've signed paychecks or you're close to, sometimes it's like, man, that bank account, man, I gotta make sure I have payroll, and I'm not gonna get paid.
Or you put, you don't pay yourself, or you put your own money in
exactly
to float the business through payroll and stuff. Oh yeah, we've all been there.
It's a different perspective that you have, just like when you being not in government and then getting in government. Again, that doesn't mean you can't participate. Doesn't mean you shouldn't participate. It means that you just. Everybody, it's like being in your shoes, and whatever your family is, I can't be in your shoes. So we all have our perspective, and so please be thoughtful and show a little grace if you feel like there's a frustration going on. Show a little grace and learn and be patient is my advice.
Well, I think what Jim says right is as well. What happens is people get that public notice, and all of a sudden it's a done deal. No, it's not a done deal. Like you said, it's 60 days.
Yep.
Yeah. Now we're saying we have a plan. We have an idea, but it doesn't mean it's going to happen.
Right.
Yeah. So, and once again, that the speed of government can be very frustrating for a lot of us, but it also like you said, there is a design for part of that is to make sure that citizens do have a voice.
Right. And I imagine there's going to be some way, and I don't know all the laws about 4B money and all the other sales tax money that's there, but I would imagine there's some provision potentially through some method, whether it's the 4B money or otherwise, that to help these folks transition away into another, whatever it is. And so learn the process, what's going to happen, what the plan is before you make any judgment calls.
Yeah, and my experience working with the folks, at least I know, that are on 4A, 4B, city level, definitely at the county level, all of us want to talk to citizens who have questions and who have concerns, and just I don't know who those show up at those public meetings, obviously, but it's okay to pick up the phone and call ahead of time or email and say, I'm just looking for more information. What's the story here?
Right.
Well, people that serve on these boards, they're not making money.
Right.
They're doing this. They're spending their time for volunteering. They're doing it for a reason.
Yeah.
There's no power. There's no fame. There's no glory. Right. There's no money in it. So why are they doing it? They do it because they want to.
Yeah.
Right. And anytime you have anybody who's serving in a public area, and they're serving in there, and they're not making a paycheck, and they're not doing that, then there's got to be a reason behind it.
Yeah. Right.
And I promise you, it's not fame and glory, because you get people who hate you, and they don't even know you.
Yeah,
it's like, look, I know I can be an asshole, but at least get to know me before you say that.
Make an informed decision.
Yeah, don't say it from because you read something I said in the paper or something like that.
Yeah, well, but that, but just to be open, I mean, your position, you're a full-time employee. Are you employed? How does that work? You're appointed.
I'm an elected official.
Elected official.
Yeah, so I am not treated as a county employee because essentially there's no one at the county who decides whether I'm hired or fired.
Right,
the voters do that.
Right.
And so.
But you're paid. You're a paid official.
Full-time paid.
And then what about the other commissioners?
Yes, so commissioners, it's a full-time job.
Okay.
County government is different from city government in a lot of ways. One of them is our elected officials it's their full-time job, and they're paid accordingly.
Right, unlike the city has these volunteers who are including the mayor, and they get a small stipend. But then they, as a body, hire the city manager, and the city manager is an employee.
Right.
And then they are responsible for running the
They're
entire
basically
city.
the CEO.
Right.
Whereas in the county, like each county commissioner, they have their own employees.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's in the commissioner's court is the policy setting body, budget setting body for the county. And each of those commissioners oversees their own group of employees that work for the precinct doing road and bridge work. And then I also have a small staff that helps run my office and then helps kind of make sure that the commissioner's court is able to do what it needs to do as far as just the administrative.
Including, communications, getting the word out, and following the law.
That's
and,
right.
Everything to make sure
That's
that
a
nobody
big one.
goes to jail.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's a big – I knew it would be a big portion of my job. It's been a bigger portion than I thought it would be of there's so many laws related to how you do things and things that you wouldn't think naturally made sense, but because somebody in the 1960s messed something up, the legislature felt the need to respond, and you still got –
And you got to go to judge school, right? The county judge school.
You do. You go to it's colloquially known as baby judges school.
Yeah.
And I am, like most county judges now in the state of Texas, not an attorney. And so you've got to get a background to make sure you're up and doing the legal side of what you have to do, but then also just staying on top of keeping all of us out of trouble and out of jail.
But you also have, you have access to attorneys. Who is your advisor?
So
for legal purposes?
For Wichita County, the district attorney's office, they have the civil chief, the chief civil attorney.
Okay.
He serves as counsel for the commissioner's court as a whole.
Okay.
And so if we have a legal question that needs that expertise, we can go to him. We also have the ability to go outside for outside counsel if there's something that's a specific area of the law that he may not have expertise in. We have the ability.
He's like a general practitioner. If you're and a doctor, he'd be a GP.
Right. Yep.
Whereas if you have a brain aneurysm or a brain tumor, you're not going to go to your GP to go did that thing out. You're going to go get a specialist.
So you as a body, as the commissioner's court, right? Okay. They then could either bring suit against another organization if necessary and hire somebody, or defend the suit.
That's correct.
Right. So
and you can have individual elected officials named as if you're being sued. They can be named, but typically it's the county as a whole that's gonna be in that, and then maybe specific elected officials under that. And if it's the county as a whole, the decisions have to be made by the commissioner's court.
So as a county judge, the word judge is in there, but not most of your job is not in a black robe being a judge, right?
That's correct. I mean, about 30%. 25% of my job is judicial. I'm in charge of our mental health court. I do some juvenile detention hearings, and they give me the fairly easy probate of wills that don't have a ton of extra stuff going on. I do those. The mental health court side has been fascinating, has really helped me in budget setting and just the overall appreciation for some of the challenges facing the county on homelessness, on substance abuse. There's that mental health component, so seeing that side has been a big deal. But no, the vast majority of my job is administrative in nature, whether it's the budget, whether it's just if it doesn't have a natural home in the county and there's not someone that should know about it, chances are it probably ends up on my desk to find out about, which is fun most of the time because you show up at work and you don't know
Your problem solving.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and your past job actually probably helped you a little bit in this mental health thing because James, you let everybody know what you did before you were.
So for nearly a decade before I was elected, I was the chief of staff for our state representative James Frank, and his at least for the last 6 years of that time I was working for him. He was the chairman of the Human Services Committee.
Exactly.
Which is responsible for oversight of the state's Medicaid system, state hospitals, the child welfare system, a lot of these pieces that naturally slot in with county responsibility. It was hugely helpful to have at least a background knowledge and an understanding at that 40,000-foot level of those issues. And it has helped me, I think, do the job better having that background.
Right.
It also, I think, has helped me relay some things back to him and to other, at the state level, folks, of an understanding of the decisions that are made in Austin, what they actually look like on the ground. And sometimes you might not put those two things together because, I mean, y'all know this. There's a difference between setting policy at a high level, and then what happens when you're the boots on the ground and you have to implement it.
And that even happens in small businesses. I mean, you might say Terry might deem something to be something in his business, but if his employee who's waiting on the customer at the counter doesn't understand, follow that policy, whatever, it gets lost in translation.
Or you don't realize the consequence of what you did. That not against, but it might affect how a customer interaction goes, you know, and it might hold up a process and you didn't even think, oh, sure, that's the way we used to do it.
Yeah. Well, and the advantage is the small business level, typically the owner also sees those effects pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Right.
There's just so much distance a lot of times.
But if you pass a law, it's hard to undo that law unless there's
going to be at least
2 years. Yeah, it takes 2 years. Yeah.
No, but you can get the governor to do an emergency
special session.
That's what everybody wants.
For you.
Yeah. If you've ever been around any sort of elected officials at the school district, county, or city level, you'll hear the words unfunded mandate. which that comes from legislature, and it does get overused at times. But sometimes it is unfunded mandate, but sometimes it is a mandate that is the people in the legislature, they mean well by it.
Sure.
It's not like they're trying to put hardship on the county or hardship on something else. But once again, you have a group of people that's coming from all over the state.
Yep.
And they're trying to make rules that will fit in the boxes, and what happens in Harris County could be vastly different, or what they want to do, their mores and everything is vastly different than what happens in Wichita County.
Yeah, and I know y'all have talked about this a lot of times before. I've heard it. I think, heck, we may have talked about this a year ago, but it is a challenge when 2/3 of the state's population is centered in the huge urban areas of the state.
Yeah.
So the Harris County, Travis County, Dallas counties of the state. And
Bear County.
yeah, and they are
Bexar.
They are when the state legislature is a Republican-dominated body, and the biggest population centers for the state are Democrat-dominated at the local level. That tension means a lot of times the state is responding to problems caused that are local decisions, but you have to make law for the whole state, and so. It's and James talked about this a lot and still does in his newsletter, but that is one of the challenges for legislators is to figure out, okay, we know this problem is happening in these places, but what are going to be the effects on the folks who are doing it right back home, who if we make this change, to make their jobs harder and their lives harder.
Right.
And so it's a challenge for them for sure.
Well, real quick, but you did mention James's newsletter. I'm going to make a quick plug here. If you've not signed up for James Frank's newsletter and you are one of his constituents, even if you're not his constituent,
even if you're not.
yeah, it's really good because it gives you a lot of overview, and they do the staff, James and the staff do a great job of putting that newsletter together, and it's worth signing up on the email and getting it.
And I will say in September, we are looking to launch a county one.
That's awesome.
Because one of the things I talked about during the campaign, and it's one of the things I've wanted to it's taking a little more time than I thought, would be to do something similar at the county level. Maybe not as often, but there's a lot of things that we do that no one knows about that like we talked about, making sure that people understand what's coming up and the postings and how do you get that word out. And it's one of the ways we're going to try to do it. And so stay tuned on this. We'll be announcing that, and we'll send press releases out and do the whole thing.
Yeah, I have to say something I've been trying to pin down here the last few minutes when you first started talking. I've talked to you several times and we've seen you and everything, but it just dawned on me that your voice, and I don't know if you've ever heard this, sounds just like John Malkovich.
Really?
Your voice to me
Really?
sounds like John Malkovich.
I'll have to close my eyes and see. Yeah.
Seriously, it's like, wow. And anyway, so sorry, I just had to throw that in.
Yeah.
You've never heard that?
I had
So,
not
okay,
heard
well,
that.
now you've heard it here.
There you go. So breaking news, Terry.
Yeah.
So what else is going on specifically in Wichita County?
So right now we are in the last home stretch before our budget and tax rate is set. That's the thing most people know about.
Mm-hmm.
If there's one thing we do that's the most important, that's it, because y'all know this. You set a budget. That is your document for how you're going to run things for the next year. And, of course, the thing that most people care about is what their taxes are going to be. So we're in the home stretch of that. We had over 40 public meetings with each department and elected official to get the background and the information on that. I will submit the proposed budget. Actually, I need to back up. For counties our size, the county judge is the chief budget officer for the county. So my job, with the help of our auditor's office, to come up with the first draft. I will submit that by August 15th, and then the Commissioner's Court will have 3 weeks to look at it, a couple of workshops, again, open to the public, workshops to discuss, make changes, offer suggestions and edits, and then we'll have one public hearing in September. I think it'll be that week of Labor Day, where let the public have their chance to give feedback on what they see, what they'd like to see, and then we'll set the tax rate and the budget again that second week of September. So, I mean, where we are right now, the county and it was true when I took office. It remains true. We are in a very secure position financially as a county. Earlier this year, we made our last debt payment on the only non-voter approved debt that we have. So right now, the only debt that the county has is the law enforcement center that the voters approved for that bond, which y'all know is a hugely helpful thing because those are built in. You just make those payments, and you have to. The taxpayers have to pay for them. So having that gone is good.
A bond is real quickly, and just so everybody understands, a bond is basically like a government body getting a loan.
Mm-hmm.
It's exactly what it is. You're basically going out and saying, asking the taxpayer, "Hey, can we go apply? Can we get a loan?" And once you approve that, you do. They sell the bonds, and then there's payments on it. And
and just like all of us have seen with our mortgages, it's a 30-year note, and you spend that first 12 or 13 years. You finally back down to the original amount of the principal that you borrowed was.
Exactly.
But we've got good fund balances, which for the county is essentially savings account. We've got enough to handle any catastrophe or disaster that comes our way without being too overstretched where we've taken too much money from taxpayers.
Exactly. Yeah, there's that fine line.
Yeah.
And there's guidelines out there.
There are. But so the budget's the big part. Again, not final, still working on the numbers, but it looks like we'll be able to do a lower tax rate again than for this next budget than we did last year. As everyone knows, tax rate's only one part of that.
Right.
If values go up a certain level, I think that when you put your county taxes, your city taxes, if you live in the city of Wichita Falls, and school district taxes together, I think most people are going to be about flat from year to year. Right. But we only have control of one piece of that.
But that's, again, percentage in that case. But truth is that the total budget itself is higher every year, nearly every year.
Well, and it's funny. It actually hasn't been. So
not always. Yeah.
The first budget I worked on was in 24, so 24, 25, and we're working on the 26 budget. It has gone down in both of those years that I've done it. A lot of that was due to the fact that when the federal government was throwing all the ARPA money in COVID response, Wichita County received about $25 million. Right. And so, weird way the county has to budget. If we don't budget the money, we can't spend it. You can have $50 million sitting in the bank, but if you haven't budgeted,
you can't spend it.
Yeah. Right. And so, to make sure that we have the ability to spend that if we needed to, that money shows up in every budget.
Gotcha.
Which means, even though you're probably going to only spend $5 million of that 25, for example, you still budget all 25.
Right.
Well, as those years have gone on, that money has been spent out and is coming down to eventually zero at the end of next year.
Okay.
So the budget is big.
Right.
But the actual.
But you banked money for a while.
Yes.
More than you would have otherwise. Potentially because of the
ARPA money. You wouldn't have had that.
Yeah, we wouldn't have had that. Right. My goal in setting the proposed tax rate is to get us as close to possible as these are the things that we need to do, and this is the tax rate that will bring in the revenues to do that. Right. Like I said, we've got good savings right now, so I'm not interested in building that up at all. There are times where you have to do that.
Sure.
Right. And that's why for the last couple of years we've been able to see a budget go down from, I think the first one was $96 million.
I was going to ask you what our budget was,
and the next year was 86. This last year's was 81, I believe. This next one's probably going to be about that same.
Isn't it interesting though? You've got I think there's going to be people on one side will say we're not spending enough because there's always needs, right? I mean, that budget's not covering everything you would really like to, but then you have to balance that with the people saying you're spending too much.
Right.
You got too much and not enough. You know, and they're competing, and you have to find that medium. That's what politics is.
That is exactly right. And what's unique about counties in Texas, and Wichita County's no different, we really have one revenue source. That's property taxes.
Right.
We don't have sales taxes. We don't have fees for the services that we don't have fees like for utilities and that type of thing. 3/4 of it's even more than that now. If our money comes from property taxes, so anything that we do as far as finding that level of things you'd like to do versus things that you need to do.
Where were you? Were you in office when that tax proposal was put on that was to capture some of the cell phone taxes? Do you remember that?
No.
So apparently, AT&T, Verizon, and all of that are obviously have customers in the county who are not in the city, and they were collecting 8.25%. And if it's not allocated properly at the state, because the state was collecting it, but they're not then sending it out to the counties because there was no sales tax, so that you have a lesser in some parts of Wichita County. You have the 1% less.
Yeah, if you're not
6.25%.
If you're in the unincorporated area, you don't have that extra
2%. Yeah, because 6.25 is what state sales tax.
Right, I knew that. Right, but I'm saying I didn't know what that difference was in the unincorporated areas. So is it the full 2%?
I don't know if it's 2% or if it's 1%. Right, but and that I do know what you're talking about because that did come up I think a couple of years before.
Right, it didn't pass.
Right,
and people thought, oh my God, it's a tax increase. Well, you're actually already paying it now, except that it is true that the small number of retailers that were in the county only and unincorporated, they were going to have to increase their tax rate. But y'all were going to get, I don't know, I think it was a few $100,000 or something, but still, that's a tractor. That's that's a lot of equipment that.
Well, on any level that you can get on that is
right.
Less that you're having to do in property tax.
Exactly, yeah, exactly. Because it's one of those deals. Once again, you have a fund balance, you have your savings account. If you have a massive savings account, that means you're overtaxing your citizens,
right?
Or you're not giving. You're either overtaxing your citizens or you're not providing the services that they deserve.
Right.
Yeah, and
but y'all wouldn't have gotten that money directly. Who would have gotten?
Well, so
or would you have gotten
on the
that?
sales tax? Yeah, it would have gone to the comptroller's office, who then would have.
So it would have sent it. Okay, well that's so. But that's a little. To me, it's a little short-sighted by a lot of people because they don't understand it.
Well, and that's been a theme of our deal today. Is a lot of what. The arguments and the fight, the debate that has to happen in public on this is sometimes a good thing and necessary because that's how information happens. And, every time you come to the voters and ask for a tax increase, that is going to be an uphill battle.
Yeah.
Would be for me, would be for you. You're asking me to pay more. What am I getting for it?
Exactly.
And, well, I think that you should just spend less over here instead of asking me for more money.
Right.
And that's always going to be a function of that argument.
Right.
And I would encourage folks, if they're interested in, we will post. It will be in the newspaper. It will be on the television news when we're going to have
the newspaper is that thing that used to come to your house that's made of paper, and it used to be that big, and now it's that big. It should be called the news pamphlet.
You can get it on our website.
Yeah, exactly.
We will be having a public hearing on the budget and taxes. I mean, I've got a really good relationship with all of our commissioners, and it's a great body because all four of them come from different backgrounds. We've got folks that are small business owners, folks who've worked in agriculture. We've got folks who've worked at the city for a long time.
Who would be on the county commissioner have been in agriculture for 473 years?
Yeah, you might have heard his voice on some local
exactly.
commercials. But each of them, they like engaging with constituents. They don't like it when folks just get on social media and blast and then haven't talked or.
They're all good people too, by the way. I know every one of them personally, and every one of them, they're approachable. They're good people, and they're all down to earth folks.
And I realize one thing I am excited about this year. We will be, in addition to our normal budget book that we post, and if you know what you're looking at, you know what you're looking at, and if you don't, it can be hard to understand. We've got a suite of tools as we engage with a company that we are going to have up on our website. the full budget, which will be clickable. You can dig in, get more information on it, be easier to understand, easier to read. I'm very excited about that because I geek out over the numbers. I love spreadsheets. I mean, the budget's my favorite part of this job, and for a lot of county judges, it's the least favorite.
Yeah.
But I realize that's not everybody. And so trying to make something that's hard to decipher understandable, I loved doing it when I worked for Congressman Thornberry. I love doing it when I worked for Representative Frank. I love doing it now. And so I'm excited about that to try to, I mean, it's going to be over $80 million. It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And it's your tax.
And it's your money.
Yeah.
Right. And how involved are you guys in, or at least in the planning or approving or whatever of like the data centers that have been talked about?
So it's state of Texas and property rights still rule here. So if, say, for example, a data center finds a landowner or a group of landowners and they're not in a city, they're in the unincorporated area of the county, unless they run afoul of floodplain issues, which is really about our only regulatory control, if they can come up to an agreement, they can largely do what they want to do. Now, the state comes in on this, so because you got utility issues there and plugging into the grid and TCEQ with environmental quality. From the county perspective, we don't have much say in whether or not that happens. Now, where that's different is if they come to us asking for a tax abatement.
Like abatements and stuff, yeah.
Then that's where we have a place in it, because from the county government side, we go, okay, you're asking to pay less taxes than you would otherwise. Well, that's fine, but here's some of the expectations we have or the things we want you to do.
Yeah, explain to everybody really quick what, if you want to, Araki, go ahead, tax abatement.
Sure. So legislatures established ways for city governments, county governments, no longer for school districts. They used to, but they can't anymore.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
There was when I was on the school.
Yeah,
'cause
I think 2 or 3 sessions ago,
Okay.
they did away with Chapter 313 of the tax code. But so if, as part of economic development and competition, we've got a lot of these entities that have a lot of places around the country, around the state that they can go. And so to make yourself more competitive, they'll a lot of times come to the county, come to the city and say, hey, we like where we would like to put our stuff here, but we've also got these other alternatives that we're looking at. But we'd really like to go here, but we need something to sweeten the pot. And so one of the tools that we have to do that at the county level in the city, say, okay, well, how about we abate or take away half of your property tax burden you'd have to pay
for a certain period of time.
For up to 10 years. That's what the statute gives us. And so that is a decision that ultimately each of those elected bodies has to make, is what's that right number? And it's a challenge. It's a negotiation. Largely, I do most of the negotiating up to a point, and then it has to come before the whole court.
And it's in exchange. It's not generally we're just going to give you. We're just going to take away half your property taxes for 5 years, but you must meet these benchmarks. You must employ this many people.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, that's the other side of the negotiation.
You have to do a certain level of investment. The jobs have to be a certain number of jobs, and they have to pay at least this amount.
Yeah.
On some projects, like solar farm, for example, that was still in the works up near Burke, you've got to do this work on the roads to make them
maybe establish a fire department, or
correct.
Help the fire department.
Help the fire department get their training they need, the equipment they need to respond to this, and all of that can go into an abatement, and it's a contract. In exchange for paying less property taxes, you say you'll do this.
And it's like the whole mattress thing that we had years ago. When
I was on the school board, we sued Stanley Tools.
For not living up to their terms.
Yeah, exactly. It was the city. I'm not sure if the county was in on that one or not. Might have been. I know the city and the school district did, and we had to sue Stanley Tools, and I learned about abatement. I was relatively new on the board at the time, and that's when I learned about, this is what abatement is. And it was, yes, we're gonna relieve some of your property taxes, but you have to produce this many jobs. They didn't live up to that. We had to go to court and actually recovered some taxpayer money.
And I think it's important for people to remember from our perspective, because there's a legitimate question of also, why would you ever want to give away the tax money that they would otherwise be paying? Right. And I think that folks need to remember, it's a competitive deal. So if you've got an entity coming in that you say it's $1 billion data center, you might want to have some say in holding their feet to the fire on some of those things like we just talked about. But also, if you look at it and you think that that's the difference between they're going to be here or they're not, well, 50% of something is greater than 100% of nothing.
And in the short term, as you said, it's a negotiation.
And also, like you said, you have a stake, you have a seat at the table.
Yep.
If there's no abatement or anything like that, if they can purchase the land from a property owner, they can come build basically as long as they're following the laws.
Yep.
They can build whatever they want, and the county can't say, "Hey, you need to employ more people" or whatever. They can tell you to kick rocks.
Yeah, and we've got a commissioner's court that myself included, who we want to see our area grow. We want to see economic development happen, and so that's one of the tools that we have and one of the considerations. But I also tell taxpayers, you start looking at some of these bigger ones, even if it's at 50% or 70% or whatever, the amount of taxes that they're paying means a lower tax rate burden for you.
And to
make the pot bigger.
Yeah. And to compare this, though, when the Cowboys Stadium was built in Arlington, moved it from Irving and built it there, and other projects they've done over the years. I guess the numbers have been run in Arlington to see in those cases, it appears that don't make it like it's going to save money in the long run, because it really didn't. What it was an investment in the city to bring people and tourism. That is, Arlington is a tourist. It's
turned into
I hate to
that,
say that it's the only one, but they got Six Flags and they got all the other things, and now they had the baseball stadium and they got all the different things going on.
And the bowling Hall of Fame or something like that. I think there's a sign that says like the PBA Bowling Hall of Fame.
Right.
Yeah. So I've never had a desire to go to the PBA Bowling Hall of Fame.
So
but whatever.
We're not in that environment. So this is a different deal, and so this is a big deal in that there's nothing. There's a small. How much you might get? I don't know, on a tract of land, what are you getting for the county right now by the current owner versus what it's going to be when?
I mean, we're talking difference of 1,000 times on some of these things, because there's an additional deal where right now most of that land out in the county is taxed at ag value, agricultural value.
Lower.
So it's a lot lower. Even
now it's
going to
be rezoned in that case? Okay. Or is it a zoning?
Well, there's no zoning.
Okay.
But it goes off the rolls for that exemption,
for ag,
essentially.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, they don't have the exemption.
And then actually gets valued.
It's like if you buy a house, from somebody who was a veteran, you have that veteran's exemption that first year until that exemption rolls off. Yeah, because the rate's already been set for the year.
Okay.
I know it just happened to me when the second time I bought a house, the guy that I bought the house from, he had passed away. He had been a veteran. And so my property taxes were actually lower that first year because I had a veterans exemption. Anyhow.
Interesting.
Well, we need to wrap it up here as we're doing
do.
that. Is there anything else you want to talk about the county? Keep people informed. Look out for the newsletter coming out soon.
Yeah, I just encourage people. You're like most people. There's no reason you go to the courthouse unless it's for a bad reason.
I was going to say,
you don't want to be on the courthouse
or get married. Or
that's true. That's true.
Like you said, a bad reason. No, sorry, my wife didn't watch this. I can get away with it.
We have now completed most of the renovation projects that were already ongoing when I came into office. But our new 30th District Courtroom, which we had to renovate because of the flood that happened back 2 years ago, is done. Looks beautiful, very functional. I think we've got our landscape around looking better than it ever has, and it's a public space. It's a public building. We want it to look excellent. We want it to be a place that we're proud of and that we're proud to show off. And again, we've been able to do all of that without asking the taxpayers to pay for it because that federal money. I guess we all did pay for it because our federal taxes.
Well, what I famously said was, yes, we all paid for it, but the cool thing is, Fred Jenkins from Walla Walla, Washington kicked in on our.
That's right. We appreciate
Canada
Fred's contribution.
Yeah. We need to send him a thank you note or something, maybe.
And for folks, our
fruit basket.
Yeah, our Iowa Park Annex, which houses our Justice of the Peace Constable, and is soon going to be our A&M AgriLife Extension, all of our county agriculture extension services. That will open up by the end of next month, and so you need to go pay your taxes, get your. Do your tag fees or whatever.
Woohoo!
And
you'll be able to do that.
And the Wichita County Annex, the tag office there it's really looks way nicer. It's so much nicer. Even on On the inside is, but even on the outside.
Yep.
That sign.
We've had a facelift.
Yeah.
And it doesn't look like you're going into the 1970s bowels of some communist government building
Yeah,
anymore.
exactly.
It looks great. It's bright. Got a good customer service system there. So just even though most people don't see them, there is progress being made and a lot of cool things are happening.
Okay, well, cool. Well, thank you for coming by. I still think you sound like John Malkovich, and maybe we'll
have to have a
after-
comparison.
Yeah.
Do a comparison.
This is actually all AI generated right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there a famous John Malkovich line that we can have?
yeah,
say?
maybe. Well,
I can't think of any of his
I don't
taglines or
know.
anything like that. So, well, anyhow, thank you very much, Jim. We appreciate Wichita County Judge Jim Johnson being our guest. We're going to go ahead and wrap it up. Next week's guest, we have Steve Garner and Mike Mitchell. So we're going to have a two-shot. They won't be in at the same time.
Yep.
But Steve will be in early, and then Mike will be in later.
Yep.
And so we'll have two guests next week.
Yeah, and be sure to share this and make sure if you haven't already subscribed, whatever you do, or like our page, all that good stuff. But be sure to share it. That's the big thing. And provide some feedback. Tell us how we're doing. Tell him he's charging us too much for taxes.
Absolutely.
whatever.
Yeah.
And at least
It's
get some
all him.
interactive thing going on here. And by the way, as far as volunteer, we don't, just so you know, we don't. We're sponsoring our own businesses, but we don't make any money on this. We're just having fun.
Yeah.
That's our main goal here. But anyway, so do all that. But you know what? Like our friend and radio partner Mike used to say, and we'll
see you down the road.
We'll see you down the road. Dang. Bye.
You'll make this rather snappy, won't you? I have some very heavy thinking to do before 10 o'clock.